So welcome, so glad you're here. And this is a webinar on healing your relationship with money using focusing. And I'm Ann Weiser Cornell. This topic could be an anxiety producing topic, even when we talk about it today in a gentle and compassionate way. You might find that something in you gets nervous or anxious. So I'd recommend that you be ready to say hello to something in you getting anxious. I keep my little doll here so I can do that. Be ready to say hello to anxious parts of you that might be stirred up as we do this. My goal for this whole webinar is that you end up feeling less anxious. That would be our goal. Lovely to be with you. Thank you so much. Okay, so our webinar is called Healing Your Relationship with Money. I wondered about this photo that has a lot of pennies. No, what comes in us if we see pennies? I found this other photo, which is a cat rolling in $20 bills. So maybe we'll have that be our icon for healing our relationship with money. I'm Ann Weiser Cornell. I'm the president and CEO of Focusing Resources. We're at focusingresources.com. I'm the co-creator of Inner Relationship Focusing. And my latest book is Presence, a guide to transforming your most challenging emotions. And today, this webinar is part of a series called Focusing in Daily Life. They're brief one-time seminars to help you with your daily life. Here's how to participate in this seminar. I'd like you to be aware of your own issues about this topic and follow along by being aware of those issues in yourself. Whatever I say here, be sure to check inside and see if it works and fits and helps for you too. Use the chat feature to share your responses and ask questions, and you'll need to select all panelists and attendees to send your chat to if you want others to see your comments. If you just send it to panelists, only I will see it. And if you want to speak, you can speak. You can say so in the chat or raise your hand. So let's start with 4 questions. I'm going to say what the questions are, and please ask yourself. And then we're going to share some of the responses I collected before we started here. And I'd love you to share your responses as well. So these are the 4 questions. What is your main worry about money, even if it's not logical? What are some of your beliefs about the importance or unimportance of money? Okay, what's your main worry? And what are some of your beliefs? Number 3, do you hide your worries about money from other people? And if so, why? And number 4, what's the most important thing you'd like to get from the seminar today? All right? I'm just going to take a peek at the chat. Unfortunately, I have to come out of where I was. All right. Will we receive the slides? Yes, you will receive the slides. That's right. Okay, good, wonderful. Yes, you'll receive the slides. That was a key question. I understand that. Okay, so we're going to start with these 4 questions. Let's start with, what is your main worry about money, even if it's not logical? Feel free to write that in the chat. And as you do that, or as you're sensing that, I'm going to share some of the answers that I collected before the seminar. One is, I worry that I won't have enough, even though part of me knows there's no quote unquote enough to cover every possible disaster story my worried parts can come up with. Another person wrote to me, I worry that I make choices, or I will make choices based on money, that cut off or postpone my joy in life. Yeah. Okay. Another person wrote, My fear is that if I don't have enough money, I'll be vulnerable for harm and pain, and I'll be dependent on other people. Okay? Is that a worry about money for you? Another person wrote, my main worry is that I will feel anxiety about this forever. Yeah, I'm worried I'll be worried forever. Some person wrote, I worry if I'm not generating enough money, that means I'm making wrong choices with my life and my business. And another worry, I worry I'm spending too much or I'm spending on the wrong things. Okay? So I'd like to find out what you've been sharing. Let's have a look. And go ahead and keep writing in the chat. What's your main worry about money? If you don't feel like writing in the chat, that's okay. It's good to be in touch with that. We'll get back to it later. So that I'll not have enough money for my life, that I'll end up without money like my uncle. Yeah, we may know somebody who is in a situation that we don't want to share, that I won't earn enough. My main worry is that there won't be enough and I won't be able to get past my current stuck place. Enough to avert financial disaster. Yeah, financial disaster. Sounds really awful. That we will lose money and then won't be able to pay for things that are important to us. And also that I'll never make the money that I believe I'm worth. Yeah, there you go. The worry I will never make the money I believe I'm worth. Excuse me. That I won't consistently manage my money well and I won't have enough. Another worry, I will lose all of it. Another worry, I'm not appreciating money. I guess that means saving money. I'll not be able to earn enough money to cover my expenses. That there will come a day when I will not have enough money and I will lose my freedom. Yeah. Well, that I'll never get beyond my sense of confusion about why I don't have money. That I feel guilty when I spend money and I'm making poor choices. So now remember, as we get in touch with our worries, be gentle with body feelings that may be coming up. So sensing what's happening to us as we get in touch with our worries, and be gentle with the feelings that are connected with that. Another person wrote, that worry I'll continue to have an adversarial relationship with money. Okay, so let's go back to my slides and go to our next question. The next question is, what are some of your beliefs about the importance or unimportance of money? What do you believe about that? We collected lots in advance. Here are some of them. Money is vitally important. Money is freedom. So checking inside if you share this belief, if you don't share this belief. Even people who have this belief probably also have countering beliefs. That's the thing about beliefs, is that they don't necessarily, they're not necessarily logically consistent inside even one person. But let's become aware of our beliefs, because we can start with a belief that we found and do a process with it. And we'll do that later. What are some of our beliefs? How about I don't deserve money? Feel free to share in the chat what's coming up for you. How about the money I receive or don't shows what I'm worth or not? Yeah, I think that's a big one. How about the belief that money is dangerous, it's terrifying, it's corrupting, or that money tends to breed greed and violence in society? Yeah? A person wrote to me, in my family, I observed that money was used to buy affection or control people. And at the same time, I heard that money can't buy affection, right? Can't buy me love. So we may have heard contradictory messages about money as we were growing up, and these maybe stay with us as our own contradictory beliefs. It's interesting to become aware of that. Someone wrote, money means independence, success, ability to live where and how I want. Yeah, it's still a belief if we agree with it. It's still a belief if we agree with it. Good, let's keep going. What about the belief that you have to work hard? One has to work hard to earn money. Yeah. What about the belief that money should be spent on basic needs and only what's practical? Whatever that is, said this person. All right. So the belief money should be spent on only what's practical, but then that's kind of a vague term that we're left to determine for ourselves. All right, let's go back to the chat and see what people have been writing. What are the beliefs? That I'll feel vulnerable. This may be fears as well as beliefs. Some people might have still been writing their fears. I'll be vulnerable and unable to be at ease in home and community and be destitute and dependent, like my parents at the end of my life. Yeah. When we see these things happen to other people that we know well, it brings very vivid images of what we don't want. Here's some beliefs. Money is needed for a good life, and any amount of money will not be enough. Oh, there you go. There's two beliefs that go together. Well, okay, there's the belief that money is bad. Very simple. Money is bad. I cannot ever generate enough money. That's a belief. If you weren't raised with a demonstration of good money management, you could struggle all your life, no matter how much you earn and how smart you are. That's a belief, right? That I need, if I didn't grow up with a demonstration of good money management, I'm doomed to always be bad at money management. Another belief, I'm not worth having money. Another belief, money is security. And since my husband and I didn't have secure attachments, and so early life experiences, feels money has to stand in for that. And it feels it's important. And another belief, I need money to have comfort. Another belief, I believe what I do is valuable and appreciated, but doesn't earn me enough. So there's something odd about if what I do is valuable and appreciated, why doesn't it earn me enough? It's a question. So there's the belief in there maybe is that if what I do is valuable and appreciated, it should earn me enough money. Right? Just because we call it a belief doesn't mean it isn't true. Okay, it's good to be aware. Generating money is a stressful process. That's a belief. I couldn't earn enough money doing what I like. I cannot earn enough money doing what I like. That's a belief. Making money is difficult. Wonderful. Let's get them all out here because they can all be looked at that way. I believe what I do is valuable, but have trouble asking for my worth. So another belief might be the reason I don't get what I'm worth is that I have trouble asking. That could be true. We'll see. Another belief, everyone else can have the money they need except me. Huh, very interesting. All right, great. I love the participation here. This is really wonderful. All right, let's go back. We have 2 more questions and then we're going to go on from there. So the next question is, do you hide your worries about money from other people? And if so, why? And I put this question here because I feel shame about ever having money issues. I feel that if people knew that I ever worry about money, they would have thoughts and ideas about me. And I grew up in a small town where everyone was aware of where everybody else was in a social position, mostly based on money, somewhat based on education. It was Very, very important without anybody talking about it. So, do you hide your worries about money from other people? Do you feel shame about having money issues? And say more about that. And here are some things that other people said. I feel other people would be shocked and disgusted by my true anxieties about money. I feel shame about not having what I want in order to live the lifestyle I aspire to. I feel shame about that. Yeah. Somebody said, this is the only topic I don't discuss with my AA sponsor. And she knows everything else that nobody knows. So that it's more shameful than all the other things connected with my life, this person wrote. Yeah. High shame value around money. Another person wrote, people who see me as having more money will dislike me, and people who see me as having less money will disdain me, feel contempt for me, or see me as lower. That could be said as a belief, or might well be both a belief and an actual experience we've had. Another person wrote to me, asking people for money brings up my issues about money the same way spending money does. So this person wrote, I tense up when I send out an invoice for my services the same way I do when I pay my bills. And I fear people, when I send an invoice, I fear the person will think I don't deserve what I'm asking. Okay, so these are some things that are coming up for people around, is it shameful to have money issues? And reading what you're writing in the chat right now, people will look down on me if I do not have enough money for a nice house and a car. So not just money, but these things that show we're in a certain social level. Another person wrote, of course it's shameful that I don't have enough money for my life and can't earn the amount. Of course it's shameful. Another person wrote, I hide my issues about money with my wealthy oldest son. This person's oldest son is quote unquote wealthy, especially his wife, who has no reference point for not having enough money. So feeling that, especially with somebody who just doesn't get what it's like to not have enough money, we would hide our money worries. Another person wrote, I express that I don't have money and I'm judged and I've been avoided for that. Or my sister gives me some as a gift, but makes me feel victim-y, right? Like she's giving me a gift, but I have to somehow, I'm just guessing that, that's what would happen if you feel victim-y, is that somebody gives you money as a gift, but it's sort of like poor you. So definitely. Another person writes, I feel so much shame that I've had so much help, that I've received so much help. Yes. Another person wrote, I do feel shame about having money worries, but I don't hide my worries. Okay, great. I feel shame about speaking up, and I do speak up. Okay, so thank you for making that nice distinction, because we may not hide our money worries, we may speak up about them and still feel shame about them. And one person writes, I feel like I have to pretend to be financially successful in order to be seen as trustable, right? So maybe you're in a profession where you want people to trust you, and the feeling is, if they know I have financial worries, they'll see me as not trustworthy. Like, how come that person isn't doing well, right? Is some money doing well, some kind of money. If that person were doing well, if that person is not doing well, that means other people don't trust them enough to hire them. So why should I? Something like that. Yeah, someone writes, I 100% agree with this tensing up sending invoices as much as paying bills. Yes, yes. Someone writes, I don't want to be judged as incompetent. If you don't have money, enough money, you're incompetent. Some person writes, I hide my worries about money because others would think it's selfish to have worries about money at my financial status when there's other people who have quote unquote real money worries. Yeah, there's that. Person writes, I'm ashamed I often procrastinate opening bills that come in the mail. Yes. Wow. Thank you so much. Person writes, I feel shame about having anxiety about money because it feels childlike. And it winds up with my husband taking care of my finances because of my anxiety. We're going to talk about how much anxiety gets in our way of being able to act effectively about money in our lives. And a person writes, lack of money affects my self-esteem and confidence. It does, doesn't it? So let's really be aware of all that and be with any feelings it's bringing up. We have one more question for you. Here it is. And that is, what's the most important thing you'd like to get from this seminar today? And people wrote a little bit of ease around the whole thing, less clenching up around the topic. And somebody wrote, reassurance, I'm not alone in all this. Well, I think we're already achieving that one. As you hear from what other people have said and read what other people are writing in the chat, you sure are not alone. Somebody wrote, I'd like to develop inner openness, ease, joy, and love in receiving more money in my life and resolve my conflicts about money. Sure. Some person wrote, I want to find the something in me space that can acknowledge the fear and shame and also show me that money is not about my self-value or about love. Nice, right? In other words, we can acknowledge our feelings, including anxiety and shame. We can also separate from beliefs about money and worth. And we're going to find a more peaceful way to take clear actions that are the best attractor for the security of money. And someone wrote, I want to uncover what's behind some of the beliefs and practices around money, spending, and saving that I've developed through the years that keep me from reaching a state of financial freedom. It's very complex, the whole money thing. You know, when I was researching and planning this webinar, I realized this could be a year-long course. We'll do as much as we can today. I feel like I've got a lot of things to share with you. And let me come back and find out what you've been writing about what you want to get out of our work today. Okay? So I want to feel some sense of hope that this issue I've been dealing with all my life will shift. I'd like to identify and remove some part of what's blocking me about having money. I'd like to find ways to let go of the conflicted feelings I have about money. And I suppose what I'd like to get is to uncover what's behind some of these beliefs about money. Yes, I'd like to be able to receive, get some energy and motivation to take actions. Yes, definitely. And deconstruct and dissolve bigger amounts of shame. And release the belief that money determines my self-worth. Beautiful, beautiful. I think we can accomplish as many as we can of those goals. Thank you, my dears. All right. Now, I discovered in researching this webinar that half of the people older than 35 stay awake at night worried about their finances. A new study shows that more people stay awake at night worried about their finances than by concerns over health, relationships, or career. Although, of course, they're all related. Yeah. a seriously anxiety producing topic. Then I found out that research shows that people with money worries tend to be so preoccupied with them that they become dumber. I'm sorry, but that's what the article said. They become dumber and they make poorer decisions that feed a downward financial spiral. Okay, so here's our equation. Money worries are a primary cause of stress, and stress leads to bad decision making. Now, I don't know for sure that bad decision making is connected to money worries. It may not be the cause of it. Sometimes there are other reasons. There could very well be other reasons. It would be a belief that the reason we have money worries is that we made bad money decisions. I don't share that belief, but I do believe that once you're in a challenging money situation, good decisions could help you get out of it. And that's why that having a new relationship with anxiety about money is a key factor in having money. Hope that makes sense. I'll say it again. It's not that our bad decisions caused us to have little money. Maybe that happened, but in most cases, maybe not. It's that once we're in a challenging money situation, clear and effective decisions has a good chance of helping us get out. So we need our full intelligence, our clear intelligence, and stress and anxiety lowers our ability to make clear and effective decisions. By the end of today's webinar, I'll talk to you more about clear and effective decisions. Right now, I'm just pointing to the trouble with being stuck in anxiety states. Let's ask ourselves, before we do anything else, how we would handle money if we were not doing so from a state of stress. So today we're going to ask, what do we want our relationship with money to be? Then we're going to talk about money and security. And that means nurturing anxious parts of us so they aren't so anxious. We're going to then deal with beliefs, especially beliefs about worthiness and value, and how to unlink those beliefs from, right? We may still have those beliefs, but we don't have to buy them. And even if we don't believe things about money, we might still have money. How to have peaceful and productive conversations about money with people who matter in our lives and why that's important. And we'll finally end up the webinar with what money issues look like on the other side of stress. So what do we want our relationship with money to be? And what do you want to feel about money, whether you have it or not? So this is a moment for you to ask yourself, okay, we've gotten in touch with the fears, the beliefs, what's hard, what's challenging. What would you like to feel about money issues? And here's a related question. You could be sensing this as at the same time. In what inner state do you want to make decisions about money? And that's a loaded question because I've already told you that I believe that when we're in a state of anxiety, we make less effective decisions. And so I'm just asking you to notice if that feels true to you, if you agree with that. And if so, in what inner state would you like to be rather than anxiety? When you make decisions about money, what would that be like to make decisions about money from a different place? Okay. I'm going to share with you some of my answers, and then I want to see some of yours. So what I came up with is that I want to think clearly about money, but not just with my head. I want to bring my heart into my money choices. So head and heart thinking together. I know that's the word thinking is a funny word, but I want to use thinking because we're talking about choosing and decision making. I want both my head and my heart, my intelligence and my values to be in on what I decide. And I want to be able to accept, right? This is from the Serenity Prayer. I want to change what can be changed and accept what cannot be changed. If it turns out I need to have a more narrow lifestyle, I'd like to enjoy that. So I also realized I'd like to act and live from my own values. And when it's not clear what my own values are or what it would be to act from my own values, I want to be able to pause and to sense. And most of all, I want to not worry about money, whether I have it or not. I remember one time, many years ago, I was doing a lot of, how should I say this? Tuning in at a kind of spiritual level to a kind of larger field that I would take walks and I would talk to this larger field, this what's larger than me, not to put any labels on that. And I was walking along on this walk, feeling very worried about money and kind of complaining, and then I sent the wish out. I said, what I really want is to just not worry about money, right? With the assumption that the way to not worry about money is to have more of it. Right. And which turns out to be a funny assumption because research also shows that no matter how much money people have, they seem to always want a little bit more. On the average, right? Millionaires want a few more millions. No, billionaires want a few more millions. So my idea that by saying to this larger field, I just want to not worry about money, meaning somehow, please send me more money. And what came back, sometimes it talked back to me. What came back was sort of, go right ahead. Like right now, go right ahead. And if what you want is to not worry about money, go right ahead. So that's very interesting to me. And it's sort of one of the real ideas behind this webinar, which is that we can worry less about money and take more effective action about money because we're worrying less. So we'll say more about that as we go along. So those would be my answers. What are you writing to me? Let's see what you want. I want to feel ease and relaxed. I want to feel relaxed, more spontaneous in my choices, and have more fun. Other people wrote, I'd like to feel competent and confident. Yes, nice, okay. Somebody wrote, I want to act, make my decisions, right, with balance and considered externalities, right, taking into account what's out there. Another person wrote, in this, what I want is to be comfortable, confident, making decisions about money, and comfortable I have enough. Enoughness, right? And another person wrote, I want to feel relaxed and empowered. Beautiful. Yeah, who else wants to write something? I want clarity and confidence when I make money decisions and feel at ease no matter the outcome. Yeah, to be unhooked from the outcome. And another person wrote, I want to feel trust. Somebody wrote, I want to have a healthy, respectful relationship with money, and I want ease around money as opposed to worry and stress. Yeah. And I want to have inner knowledge that I'm able to earn enough money as I need in my life. Yeah, wonderful. So great to be in touch with what we're wanting. And that's going to keep evolving as we go on. Good. Very nice. All right. Let's come back. We're going to go to step 2 now of our webinar. And step 2 is money insecurity, nurturing the anxious parts of us so they aren't so anxious. Okay. Now, for example, security fears about money. This is similar to the worries that we tracked at the beginning. Here are some examples of security fears about money. I'm afraid I won't have enough. I'm afraid I'll be vulnerable to harm and pain. I'm afraid not having enough income means I've made bad choices and I'm doing something wrong right now. I'm afraid I will keep on being anxious about money forever. Now, would you please write down a sentence that expresses a main fear for you about money? And write it in the form, I am afraid, and then fill in the blank. Okay? Everybody please do that. Doesn't matter which one you pick, right? If you have 4 or 5 or 10 or 20 fears, just pick one. And you'll be able to repeat this process with the others later. Okay. Next step, change your sentence to something in me is afraid, and then finish the sentence in the same way. Okay, so if you wrote it down, you would write this new sentence underneath that one. So I'm afraid I will not have enough. Second sentence, something in me is afraid I will not have enough. So we're shifting from being identified with the fear to being in a relationship with something in us that carries the fear or has the fear. And the language can help us do that. All right? Now, when you have that second sentence, the next step is to say hello to that, right? So something in me is afraid. Fill in the blank. Like something in me is afraid I will never have enough. And I'm saying hello to that. So the I who says hello is not the one who's afraid. The I who says hello is you, being with the part of you that's afraid. Now this is a little tricky because these fears can feel very big and global. But even if you can feel a little difference between you and the part of you that's afraid, that's terrific. Or maybe that's hard right now. I feel like that's all of me. Well, at least you're noticing that it feels like it's all of you. And that brings in the possibility that at some point, it might not feel like all of you. Okay? Now let's go to a next step. Oh, first I just wanted to show you what we're talking about here. So when you say, I am afraid, or I worry, that's like this cartoon where the fear or the worry or the anxiety is so big, it feels like it's crushing us. And that's very unpleasant, isn't it? And what we're doing when we say something in me is we're shifting from it's crushing me to I'm sitting next to it. We haven't shifted the anxiety yet, but we shifted our relationship with it. And that is huge. Okay? Now, here it is again. If you don't have it yet, I want you to do it now. I'm afraid, da, da, da. Something in me is afraid, da, da, da. And I'm saying hello to that. We're going to go on from here. Before we do that, I'll just see what people are writing in the chat. Yeah, great. People are sharing their parts that are afraid. And I love how your folks are saying something in me. Very nice. All right, good. Coming back now. We're going to go on. Okay, take your sentence, something in me is afraid that. And now, there it is. This is my example. Something is in me is afraid I won't have enough. You can use your own sentence there. Okay, now let a gentle hand go to where it is in your body. So the something in me is afraid I won't have enough. Where is that? Is it in my throat, my heart, my gut? Is it up around my eyes? Let a gentle hand go there. Like with your hand, you're saying to the anxious feeling, I'm with you. All right? Now, you say, I'm letting it know I'm here to listen to what worries it. I'm letting it know I'm here to listen to what worries it. This is important. You might think you already know what worries it because it's you, right? But as we feel like we've separated from the part of me that's worried, what comes with that is a sense of curiosity. And curiosity is really important for shifting our relationship with our emotional states. Because if we assume we already know what they feel and why, what they're worried about, we're caught in a kind of repetitive state where what allows the possibility of real change is not knowing, right? Curiosity. Like, how would you feel if I said to you, what are you worried about? Oh, don't tell me, I already know. Yeah? Why would you say anything to me if I already know? The amazing possibility that the part of you that's worried can surprise you about what it's actually worried about if you ask it freshly. So I'm letting it know I'm here to listen to what worries it, and I'm inviting it to let me know, this is important, okay? I'm inviting it to let me know what it is worried will happen if, and fill in the blank. So in my example, it's if I don't have enough. I'm inviting it to let me know what it's worried will happen if, and in my case, if I don't have enough. So pausing there to sense from its point of view what it's worried will happen if you don't have enough. Now, it may show you disaster movies. It may show you a homeless person lying in a doorway. It may speak to you, it may show you, one person spoke of their parents or their uncle. It may show you those pictures. That's the part's way of showing you what it doesn't want to happen to you. And you would say to it then, I'm letting it know I hear it. Now, what usually happens at the point where we get in touch with our worries about money is that we go into an anxiety cycle that's a trap, or we go into a denial cycle that's a trap. So I just want to show you those two cycles for a moment before we show how to avoid those two traps. Okay, so the anxiety path or trap, I'm freaked out about money. I toss and turn at night, showing myself scary scenarios. I'm too anxious to take wise action, whatever that might be. I don't even know what it would be because I'm too anxious. So then I make choices that are not the best ones. And that leads to more anxiety. So it's a trap. It's a cycle if I meet anxiety with more anxiety, if I'm identified with my anxiety. Well, related to that, but one that's A favorite of many people in the world today is the denial trap. So money is too scary to think about. Thinking about money triggers feelings of overwhelm and inadequacy. And there's nothing I can do about it anyway, something in me says. So pass the chocolate. Yeah, I'm not going there at all. Pass the chocolate, or so what's streaming on Netflix? So we get into anxiety or we get into denial. What can we do instead? Instead of anxiety or denial, we're going to go deeper in our relationship with the something that has feelings of anxiety. All right, here's how that works. So we were saying, this was our last point in our process, I'm inviting it to let me know what it's worried will happen if I don't have enough. And then we're open to whatever comes, including scary scenarios. We understand that everything this part tells us or shows us is its worry. It's what it doesn't want to happen. So whenever something comes from this part of us, we say, I'm letting it know I hear that, or if it's an image or a movie, I'm letting it know I see that. That way you stay in the position of listener. It's tempting to get sucked in. Sucked in means, oh my gosh, you're right, that is scary. We want to stay separate. I have that part that's that anxious, but right now I am not that part. I am the empathic listener to that part. So we remind ourselves to be that empathic listener by actually saying to this part of us, I hear you. I see what you're showing me. I get what you're worried about. We could even say to it, no wonder you're worried about that. I hear you. Now, here's the next step. This is what I mean by going deeper. I'm inviting it to let me know what it's worried will happen if that happens. So that means that whatever it responded to the first invitation, you bring that into a new invitation. So if it showed you an image of your uncle at the end of his life, then you are inviting it to let you know what it's worried will happen if your life is like your uncle's. This might seem like a funny question. It might seem like the answer is obvious, but let the part of you answer, because you might be surprised. And it takes a moment. You may need to wait a moment just to let that come. What it's worried will happen or what it's not wanting to happen if happens. And that was the answer that it gave you already. Okay, and then whatever comes there, you'll let it know you hear that too. There's not any point, this is important. There's not any point here where we agree or disagree with what the part is saying. This is not about agreeing or disagreeing. We're not trying to determine truth or make decisions right now. What we're doing is listening to the anxious and worried part of us. And that is a relational process. That's me, the listener, listening to the anxious, worried part of me. That brings change. To be in a different relationship brings change. So I'm letting it know I hear or see whatever it just told me. Now I could also sense what it wants for me. Sense what it wants for me to be able to feel. Let me show you an example of this. I think it'll make more sense. This is one I did earlier today. Something in me is afraid I won't have enough money when I'm old. It's letting me know it doesn't want me to feel foolish. Now, this was a big surprise to me. I thought it would show me lots of scenarios of being in scary poor people's nursing homes or things like that. And it wasn't about that for the part. It was, I don't want to feel like I've been stupid. I don't want to feel foolish. Oh, so I let it know I hear that. And then I make a new invitation that sounds like this. I'm inviting it to let me know what it's worried will happen if I feel foolish. I don't know the answer to that. Luckily, I don't have to know because I'm asking this part of me. And when I did the process this morning, what I sensed was, it's a feeling of not wanting to feel shaky and unsupported in the world. Not wanting to feel shaky and unsupported in the world. Huh, and I let it know I hear that too. Oh, that's what you're not wanting me to have to go through, is feeling shaky and unsupported in the world. Then I ask what it wants. I can already start to feel, and what came was, what it wants for me is to feel solid, grounded, and cared for by the universe. Wow. All right. So I want to come back and see whether any of you might want to speak at this point. You can raise your hand or write in the chat that you'd like to speak. I can give you the microphone so you can be heard. Some people were writing in the chat about what came, the parts afraid I'll become homeless, parts afraid I'll die. Now that's an interesting one, that the parts afraid you'll die, because you can even put that into a new invitation, that it's what it doesn't want to have happen if I die. It doesn't make much sense logically, but interestingly, people give really different, parts of us give really different answers to that question, what they don't want if we die. Okay, hands are up. Jonathan, I'm allowing you to speak. Go right ahead.
Hi, Ann. Can you hear me?
Hi, Jonathan, go right ahead.
Does everybody hear me now or just you?
Everybody hears you.
Okay.
And keep your video turned off or everybody will see you too. So that's good that you have it turned off. Yeah.
Yeah, so I love that process. It was really beautiful. I don't know, you can't bring it up on the screen right now, I guess, but and I love how it came to that final conclusion of.
I actually can if you want me to. Do you want me to?
Okay, can you, just so I can see it?
Yeah. Yeah. Do you mean my process, my example? Yeah.
Yeah, that one right there. Yeah.
There it is.
I just love the way it especially those last two parts, how it really, where to go.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, how it came around to saying what it doesn't want and then what it wants for you. And you know, it feels like such a beautiful inner conversation. I love that. That's what I love about this work.
Yeah.
I'm wondering, when it gets to that place of what it wants from me is to feel solid, grounded, and cared for by the universe, is that like the transformational moment? Is it just by expressing that anxiety disappears, just by you, capital U, being able to hear that part say this? Does that shift?
Wow. I'm so glad you asked me that question, because that makes me realize that I forgot one more step.
Oh.
And the final step is to see, how much do I feel in my body right now, the feeling that the part wants for me. And it's quite likely that by this point in the process, I am actually starting to feel that a bit right now, partly because this part of me doesn't just communicate in words, it communicates in body feelings. It can communicate in images, and it can communicate in body feelings. So probably at this point, it's not just saying the words that it wants me to feel solid, grounded, and cared for by the universe. It's actually showing me in my body the body feeling of solid, grounded, and cared for by the universe, at least somewhat. So the final step is to just really feel that in the body right now. what of that I am feeling in my body right now. Feel and enjoy what's now here in my body of whatever this part wanted me to be able to feel. And that's the transformational moment. I mean, really, the whole thing is transformational. The fact that you're in a different relationship with this part rather than being taken over by it and running, being run by it, having it run your life. But that final moment of really feeling what it wants you to feel and then feeling in your body that you're already feeling it, that is amazing. Yes.
So when it's actually saying to you, it wants me to feel this.
It probably is actually showing you
yes
what it wants you to feel, as well as telling you.
Yes.
Great, give that a try. Thank you, Jonathan. I'm gonna
my hand down.
Yes, I'm gonna change your role back to attendee. And another person has raised a hand. Hi. Go ahead and speak. I don't know your first name. Oh, I can't unmute you. Can you unmute yourself? Okay. Sorry about that. Looks like that's not going to happen. All right. Okay. Let's see. Messages in the chat. If I die, my parents will be disappointed in me because I didn't marry somebody, have no children. That's what the part is worried will happen if you die. So say it this way. It's worried that if I die, my parents will be disappointed in me, and so on. And then you can do it again. So what it is, this part of you is not wanting to happen if that happens. Great. All right. Wow. Well, we have a lot more and just another half hour. So let's go back and do more. I'm sure we can do it all. Okay. Our next step is about money, security, worthiness, and value as a person, and how to unlink them and still have money. So we start with the question, is money linked to worthiness? Maybe it shouldn't be, but it often is, isn't it? Whether we're worthwhile or not. In our own eyes and in the eyes of others, it's really hard to separate the two. Is not having money linked to worthiness, right? The opposite could be true too. We could do the reverse and say that it's the people who don't have money who are the worthy ones. If we're in an either or world where one is true or the other is true, then we're going to go back and forth between the people who have money are worthy, the people who don't have money are worthy, right? I found some photos. Are these the people who are more worthy, or are these the people who are more worthy, you know? So just noticing our reactions to these. Here's some worthiness beliefs about money. If I don't have money, I'm less valuable as a person and others will see me that way. If I don't have money, it's because I don't deserve it. People who don't have money have not worked hard enough. They haven't been careful or virtuous. Yeah, those are worthiness beliefs. And another belief is that success with money is a sign of intelligence. I don't know if I believe that, but I know my culture does. Okay? So take a belief that you have about worthiness and money and write it down. You can make it nice and simple. Simpler the better, but true. Make it something, not that you believe is true, but that something in you believes. And that's what we're going to actually say here, is we're going to say something in me believes. So we're going to take a belief like, if I don't have money, it means I'm not smart. So having money is a sign of intelligence. Not having money is a sign of not being intelligent. And then we're going to shift in the same way we did earlier with the feelings. Now we're going to take a belief and do that same kind of shift and say, something in me believes. Something in me believes. Smart people have money. If you're If you don't have money, it means you're not smart. Now, we're going to go to, I'm saying hello to that. Beliefs are tricky. Beliefs are tricky. You know, we talked before about the anxiety trap and the denial trap. There's a trap for beliefs that has to do with having a kind of inner argument about whether they're true or not. Like something wants to come up with counterexamples. Well, so-and-so is a smart person, but they don't have money. So-and-so has lots of money, but isn't a smart person at all. I'm not saying who I'm thinking of. However, those are traps because beliefs are not really about truth at all. And so it doesn't actually help to try to argue or discuss their truth. Not with any amount of counter evidence can we shift our beliefs. No amount of counter evidence can shift your beliefs. What does shift your beliefs? Well, I would understand that a belief, a limiting belief, right? I mean, we have other beliefs that we don't worry about, like the sun will come up in the morning. But limiting beliefs, negative or stressful beliefs, these are from parts that seem to be trying to understand the world, but actually the part that holds the belief has needs of its own and deeper issues. And the so-called belief is just the surface manifestation of something deeper going on, right? Let me show you how to get to that deeper place. Parts use beliefs like levers. Parts of us use beliefs like levers. And they come by it honestly because as we were growing up, we were told things in order to get us to do or not do things. We were told things like good people work hard, good people get good grades. What do you think those were levers for, right? We were told good people work hard because the person who told us that wanted us to work hard. And that came from a whole stack of desires about the trouble we would get in if we don't work hard and so on. Well, we can take any belief that's held by a part and understand what's the part trying to make happen? What's the part trying to make us do or not do by the use of that belief, right? Here's a picture of a lever, yeah? For a part, a belief is a lever. So what is the part that has the belief trying to get me to do? So I don't have a nice slide for this because I just want to talk you through it. So there's a picture of closed eyes there. Take a belief, a stressful belief about money. It may be the belief that if you were smart, you would have money, or one of the other beliefs we've identified earlier. Okay, have you got one? We're going to take about 7 to 10 minutes for a little process here that starts with a belief. And I put a picture of closed eyes up on the screen because you may want to close your eyes. You may want to feel your body's contact on what you're sitting on right now. And slow down. Wow. And as you bring awareness to your body, you may become aware that there may be a lot going on in your throat, chest, stomach, and belly. And just pause and say hello to whatever you're feeling right now. It might have been stirred up or evoked by the discussion we've already had. So let's be gentle with that. Can we be gentle with any of our own feelings? Can we bring kindness into this sensing awareness process? Bringing awareness especially into throat, chest, stomach, and belly. Remember the belief. A belief you have about money. And it could be as simple as, I will never have enough. I will never be able to earn enough for the life I want to live, or to not be worried. So what is a belief you have about money that causes you stress, that's related to stress? And now add the words, something in me believes. Something in me believes. So you're letting this be a part of you. Now, you might not feel the part that has the belief in your body. It might seem like it, I'm not sure where it is, or it's sort of in the air around my head. That's okay. This kind of part, the parts that have beliefs, are often not specifically bodily, although they can cause anxious feelings in the body. So this is more like, I say hello to the part of me that says, I'll never have enough, for example, no matter where it is right now. Hello out there, wherever you are, part that has that belief or that says that. Now, I'm changing the language because I don't want to say it's a part that has the belief. If we understand that beliefs are levers, the part might not even believe it. So we're going to say instead, I'm acknowledging a part of me that says or that tells me I'll never have enough. I'm acknowledging a part of me that says or tells me only smart people have money. If you don't have money, you're not smart. Acknowledging a part that says or tells me, in order to have money, work hard. Good. All right. So you've said hello to that part of you. Now sense that that part of you is worried about something. There's a worry. It's trying to get you to be different than you are. It's saying its thing because it wants to shape you up or make you different or stop you from doing something because it's worried about you somehow. So the move here is to say, maybe it's worried. Maybe it says that to me because it's worried about something. So I'm doing it right now, and what I'm getting is the part that believes I will never have enough is saying that to me because it's worried that if it doesn't say that, I will be careless and wasteful and overspend. But there's a related part, so I'm doing it several times just to see whether I can get several examples. There's a related part that's saying, you'll never have enough. And I feel like what it is worried about is that I'll keep stressing about this, and what it wants me to do is give up. It wants me to just let go of the whole thing and give up. Okay, so if you can just take a moment to feel what the part's worried about and what it wants you to do or not do. And that's really why it says this to you. Like not be quote unquote wasteful or work harder or give up or something else. What it wants you to do or not do. And when you get an answer, then let it know you hear it without arguing. We're never going to talk about whether it's true or not, because beliefs are levers. Instead, we're going to say, I really hear you're worried about, you're worried about what will happen to me if I don't, or if I do, ... whatever it says. Now we're back to where we were in the earlier exercise, being with a part of us that's worried. You can make a note right here and maybe later come back to do the what it's worried will happen, what it's worried will happen if that happens, and so on. Do you see how that works? And some of you may even feel that already, that there's something deeper, that this part that's been telling you this belief, there's something something deeper that it's trying to prevent, keep from happening. It's worried about happening. And then you can sense what it doesn't want you to have to feel, what it's trying to protect you from having to feel, like more anxiety or more distress. That's what it doesn't want for you to have to feel. And then you can say, I'm just curious what it does want, what positive feeling it wants for me to be able to feel. Now we're going pretty quickly, so that might not have come for you yet, but make a note, because that's the place where you'll want to go into what that part wants for you to be able to feel. And parts that hold beliefs are often talking to us about what they want us to do, like give up or work harder or be smart or something. But what they really are worried about is avoiding certain feelings and helping us have certain other feelings. So if you get what it wants for you to be able to feel, then you could also pause and notice if you're feeling some of that already. Well, it wants me to feel relaxed. Well, yeah, I feel the kind of relaxed that it's talking about. Good. And you might just want to make note of this, let this know that you'll be back so that you can be with us again. Because I have a few more things to share with you. So thank your body. Thank your body process. Be gentle with yourself. However far you got in listening to your inner world is wonderful. It's wonderful. If you got a sense, if you got just a sense that there's something more there to get to know, that's wonderful. That's great. Wondering if somebody wants to say something about that. Raise your hand. Ah. Thank you. Someone said in the chat that this was beautiful. Great. Let's go on. I have more. We're going to get to some fun stuff here. Not that this wasn't fun already. Okay. Oops. There we go. All right. Now, the fourth part of our webinar is having peaceful and productive conversations about money with people who matter. And many of you have shared that it's hard to talk to some of the people in your life, especially those with whom your finances are woven, intertwined. And wouldn't it be great to be able to have peaceful conversations about money? And so what I'm suggesting is that rather than having our conversations about what we do or how scared we are, we might talk about what we both want to feel. So taking the kinds of questions we've been asking in this webinar, what you want to be able to feel about money, and from what place you want to be able to be making your money decisions, could that be what you talk about with your close, financially connected people? Let's make a time to talk about what we both want to feel about money. The scary thing about talking about money, oh, there's many, is that one or both of us will feel blamed. And as soon as blame and criticism and judgment become part of a conversation, it really becomes a lot harder because we get taken over by parts of us. What we want is a conversation that comes from the calm place inside. Here's another thing you might want to say. Let's make a time to talk about what kind of lifestyle would feel right to both of us. You might already know, but you might be surprised. If you have somebody you live with and share finances with at some level, let's share what each of us wants, likes, needs as a lifestyle. And then, of course, important principle number 2 in talking to other people, be sure to listen before you respond. Just as I've been showing you to do in your inner world with the parts inside you, I hear you before we agree or disagree. Be sure to do that with other people too. Here's another one. Let's make a time to talk about not being anxious and not being in denial about money, like how we both would prefer not to be either anxious or in denial about money, and whether there's a third way. Do you too want an approach to money that's not anxiety and not denial? So these are just a few ideas. I also want to talk, before we finish today, about what money looks like on the other side of stress. So let's say all of this happens. Let's say you can be with your anxious parts and the parts of you that have stressful beliefs. What would our approach to money be if we were not caught in anxiety and denial cycles? Well, I have a few ideas about that, and I'd love to hear yours as well. One idea I have is that we would feel free to admit we need to learn, and we'd find ways to educate ourselves. I guess, you know, when money is caught in shame and everybody should have already known about it, then it's really hard to be in a learning mode. And just yesterday, I was listening to a podcast on Freakonomics Radio on financial literacy. And they had a 3-question survey that been given to people all over the world. And all over the world, only 30% of people get correct these 3 simple questions about finances. So probably there's more any of us could know about budgeting, saving, planning, and so on. I found this great free university. Do you know about this? This is called the Khan Academy. This is a man out here in California who's getting awards all over the place for creating huge amounts of free video courses, mostly on math, but there's a whole section on personal finance. Just one idea about what things would be like beyond the anxiety and denial cycle. Another idea I had, this is something from my own life. Another idea I had was that if we're free of the trap of identifying with our anxiety, we would get creative and think out of the box. And I've been inspired for a long time. This is a funny person to be inspired by, a guy named Jeffrey Archer, very controversial figure, probably a sleazy person based on all the things he's been indicted for. He's a best-selling author. Turns out he wrote his first book as a means of avoiding bankruptcy. He was in a huge financial hole because of sleazy things, and said, well, the only way I can get out of this is to write a bestseller, and he did. That also is true in a way, not a sleazy person at all. Lee Child, author of the Jack Reacher novels, decided to become a writer after losing his high-paying job in TV production. And the stories of people like this have been inspiring to me when I have felt in a money hole, because I can tell that there's a downward spiral and there's an upward spiral. If we don't take the downward spiral, what's the upward spiral like? The downward spiral is like, I'm more and more anxious, I'm more and more worried, I feel more and more constricted and limited, I feel more and more like I'm stupid, and I don't want to go in that direction. What's the upward spiral like? Well, it's something like, what would be something truly unexpected, something I've never done before, something truly creative that I might invent or develop? And so a few years ago, I created a whole program, a year-long program, out of that kind of thinking. How do I think outside the box? How do I get creative? Created a whole year-long program out of that kind of thinking. No, and people are loving it. It's something that it would have been great to create even if I hadn't needed the money. So in other words, as I hear stories about people like Jeffrey Archer, who became a best-selling author because he had to, I wonder, what could I do if I had to? And if I weren't feeling restricted and under pressure by my fears. If I can shift my relationship with my anxieties so that more of me is available for creativity, what's possible then? Now, I wanted to say one more thing to you about money, and then I'd love to, do I have time? Yeah, we might have a little time for more dialogue with you. I want to say that as we talk about life beyond worries about money, that there's one thing that makes people much richer than money. There's one thing that's more likely than money to save you in earthquakes, floods, and fires, and if the internet goes down. Do you know what it is? It's people. So, yeah. So, yeah, let's pause and receive what has come today. Learned a lot about shifting our relationships with anxiety and stressful beliefs, and also about what we want to feel and where we want to come from around money. Ask yourself again, what do you want to think and feel about money? And how do you want to live? And pause and let your body show you the body feeling that you want to have about money, how you live, how you relate to other people. Just pausing to let that come right now. Even if it's not the only way you feel right now, you can feel a little bit of it, can't you? Thank you. Anybody want to say one more thing in the chat or, oh, great. Yes. Reading that people found it beautiful or transformational. Yes. We're talking about changing your relationship with parts of you that have anxiety beliefs about money. Thank you so much. Okay. Somebody else? We have time. If somebody wants to raise your hand and talk to me about something you still have a question about what we said today. We talked about downward spirals and upward spirals. Trisha, you can speak. Please go ahead.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah.
You know, I'm just thinking about, you're talking also about a change in relationship really to anxiety. You know, I'm a psychotherapist, and just thinking about how we've been trained to help people with their anxiety is to really challenge it, is to really, you know, do what you're saying doesn't work, which is the counter evidence. And, you know, and this is really a whole new way of really sitting with the anxiety, but thinking about what the anxiety is trying to how it's trying to protect you, or what it's worried about, and not trying to fight it or push it away, but make a space for it.
It's very different. Now, I do want to respect the methods you're talking about, because the, you know, CBT, for example, you know, let's think about whether what that part of you is saying is true or not. That's helped a lot of people. So I don't want to just put it down, but I am offering an alternative, and I know this way works.
Right.
That if we, and I would suggest a couple of things if you work with people. One is help them use this language. Something in me feels anxious. And call it feels anxious rather than ever calling it the anxiety or the fear, because nouns are part of the problem. So something in me is anxious, and I'm going to say hello to that and listen to it and create a relationship with it. And you may find people feeling better immediately. So good luck, and let me know how that works.
Yes,
yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you for saying that. Thank you so much. All right. And I see that people are asking if you can get the slides and the audio. Yes, everything's going to be available. The slides, the audio, and the video to anybody who bought this seminar, or anybody who buys it in the future. It's going to continue to be available. So if you loved it, you want to send somebody else to it, it's still available for purchase for people on our website. Yay. Thank you so much to the people who are saying that it was great. Yes, wonderful. All right. Super good to be with all of you. I've just loved it. There's so much here. I feel we could do another whole thing about it, but I'm grateful that we got to do a lot and that it was helpful. Thank you so much. Bye for now. Yay.